Shalom, shalom, Yasharala. It's your brother Mashaya coming at y'all with an edifying video through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah Bahashim Rakagodash. So in today's lesson, I got two articles that I want to go into, and it's just showing you that this Edomite, he just waxing worse and worse as we get to the time when Yahweh Bahashim Al Shah comes back. He's just gonna keep ramping up, and he's gonna keep showing his horns. But it says White House Deputy Chief of Staff says the world must be governed by force. It says Stephen Miller, this goofy, once best known as the architect of the Trump administration's hardline immigration agenda, has emerged as a central figure shaping U.S. foreign policy in the second Trump administration, unsettling diplomats, allies, and lawmakers alike. Long a controversial advisor in domestic policy, Miller's role has expanded well beyond immigration, positioning him as a key voice in strategic debates that would once have been dominated by the State Department and Pentagon. According to the New York Times, Miller recently made headlines for asserting that Greenland rightfully belonged to the United States, a statement that underscores his increasingly assertive and unconventional approach to international affairs. Miller's comments on Greenland reflects a dramatic escalation in rhetoric from a senior White House official. In an interview, he questioned Denmark's authority over the Arctic territory and suggested that the U.S. could and should consider options to acquire it, arguing that nobody's going to fight the United States military over Greenland's future. So it just shows you how proud and how much this demon puts his faith into his weaponry, and how he think he could just do whatever the hell he wants to, and he's not going to suffer any consequences behind it. It says this line of thinking aligns with a broader shift in Washington's posture toward great power competition and hemispheric dominance, but it has alarmed both allies and critics. While President Trump has at times floated the idea of buying or otherwise acquiring Greenland, Miller's remarks underscored a willingness to challenge long-standing diplomatic norms and treaties, including the sanctity of NATO's allies' territorial integrity. Reactions to Miller's statements were swift and pointed. European governments, particularly in Denmark and across NATO, voiced strong objections, framing control of Greenland as a matter for the people of Greenland and their government, not an object of U.S. ambition. Lawmakers in the United States also registered dissent. Even some Republicans criticized the idea as unrealistic and potentially harmful to alliances. This pushback reflects a broader concern about Miller's influence, as his rise marks a departure from traditional diplomatic channels and career foreign service expertise toward a more ideologically driven and unilateral foreign policy vision. The tension over Greenland is part of a larger pattern in which Miller's worldview appears to inform key foreign policy discussions, including how the United States projects power and defines its national interests. Observers note that his perspective, shaped by nationalist and America First principles, often prioritizes strategic dominance and security over cooperation, multilateralism, or respect for existing international frameworks. Whether this influence represents a lasting shift in U.S. foreign policy or a flashpoint in an internal debate over America's role in the world. Miller assent underscores the evolving and contentious nature of strategic decision-making inside the White House. And I'm going to pull a precept, a classic, Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And my next article, it relates to the one that I just read with what just happened yesterday with an ICE agent shooting and killing somebody. It says legal expert says Minneapolis woman shot and killed by ICE agent likely committed a serious. They say the woman likely committed a serious felony offense, and you already know that that's most likely bullshit. They just saying that so they could be justified in what they did, and that just goes to show you that martial law is it's on and popping, but it just hasn't been what's the word? It hasn't been announced that it's martial law, but this is like the baby stages of martial law with all these ICE agents everywhere, and especially having to do with Jake and Jacob's trouble. But it says a former federal prosecutor has publicly argued that Renee Nicole Good's actions during a confrontation with immigration and customs enforcement could meet the legal standard for felony assault under federal law. The assessment centers on a clash in which an ICE agent was allegedly injured, prompting debate over whether the incident should be treated as a serious criminal offense rather than a minor altercation. Salakia. It says the Salakia Yasharada. Something funny just happened. It says the assessment centers on a clash in which an ICE agent was allegedly injured, prompting debate over whether the incident should be treated as a serious criminal offense rather than a minor altercation. It says, according to the account, the dispute Salakia, goodness gracious. It says, according to the account, the dispute unfolded during an ICE operation when agents were carrying out their duties and encountered resistance. Prosecutors say that the key issue is not simply that an argument occurred, but that physical force was allegedly used against a federal officer. It says under federal statutes, and any assault that results in bodily injury to an agent performing official duties can elevate the charge to a felony, even if the injuries are not life-threatening. The former Southern District of New York prosecutor emphasized that intent and context matter. If evidence shows that force was knowingly directed at an ICE agent, the law does not require proof of a weapon or severe harm to justify felony charges. It says the threshold can be met by actions that cause pain, physical injury, or impede the agent's ability to perform their job. The case has drawn attention because it highlights how quickly encounters with federal officers can escalate legally. What some may view as a moment of anger or panic can carry significant consequences when the person involved is a law enforcement officer protected by federal law. Prosecutors often rely on body camera footage, witness statements, and medical records to determine whether the legal elements of felony assault are satisfied. The last two precepts that I got, and Salaki about that, Yasharala. It says Isaiah chapter 19 verse 4. It says, "And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, aka Trump, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts." And my last one, Isaiah chapter 24 verse 4. It says, "The earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fade." Hold up, world languisheth and fade away, the height of the earth. Nah, this wasn't the one I wanted to get. Give me one sec. The earth mourneth when the wicked are in rulership. Alright, there we go. Proverbs chapter 29 verse 2. It says, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn." So with that, I pray our brothers and sisters were edified. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakodash. With that, Shalom.